Hut in the Forest. The Cottage in the Enchanted Forest. Once upon a time, in a quiet corner of a deep and whispering forest, there stood a tiny wooden cottage. This humble home belonged to a poor woodcutter who lived there with his gentle wife and their 3 daughters. Though they had little, their love for one another made the simple cottage feel warm and full of life. One morning, as golden light streamed through the trees and birds sang softly, the woodcutter prepared to leave for the forest to chop wood. Before stepping outside, he turned to his wife and said kindly, "Today, please send our eldest daughter to bring me my supper in the woods. I'll scatter corn kernels along the path so she can follow them and find me easily." The wife agreed, and later that day, their eldest daughter placed a warm bowl of soup into a basket and set off, humming a tune. But as she walked deeper into the forest, she noticed something troubling. All the corn had vanished, eaten by sparrows, robins, and curious squirrels. Not a single piece remained to guide her. Still, she pressed on bravely, wandering through the thickening woods until the sun dipped below the trees and shadows stretched long across the mossy ground. As darkness crept in, she spotted a faint light flickering through the trees. She followed it and soon stood before a crooked little house nestled among the roots of an ancient oak. She knocked gently. The door creaked open, revealing an old man sitting at a table. His beard was long and silver, his eyes deep and knowing. 3 animals sat quietly nearby, a chicken, a rooster, and a plump cow. "Good evening," said the girl politely. "May I please stay here for the night? I've lost my way." The old man nodded. "You may, but if you wish to rest beneath my roof, you must first prepare us a warm supper," he said in a soft, creaky voice. The girl agreed and made a pot of soup, but she gave no thought to the animals. She didn't feed them, nor did she ask about their care. After cooking, she asked the old man where she could sleep. "Go upstairs," he said. "There are 2 beds. Make them properly, shake out the blankets, and cover them with white linens. I will join you shortly, but do not lie down before I arrive." She climbed the stairs, fixed the beds, but feeling tired, ignored his warning and lay down. She fell asleep before the old man appeared. That night, something strange happened. The old man entered the room and, with a wave of his hand, opened a hidden trapdoor beneath her bed. The girl vanished through it without a sound. At home, the woodcutter returned and asked his wife why his meal had not been brought. "I sent our eldest daughter," she said anxiously. "She must have lost her way. I hope she returns soon." The next morning, the woodcutter asked their middle daughter to bring his supper. "I'll leave lentils this time," he said. "They're larger than corn. Birds won't eat them so quickly." At noon, the girl set out with the basket, but the forest creatures had eaten every last lentil. She too wandered into the woods until she came upon the same little house. The same events unfolded. She made soup but neglected the animals, then went to bed before the old man arrived. That night, the same fate awaited her. She, too, disappeared. Now only the youngest daughter remained. She was kind-hearted and clever, and when her father asked her to bring his supper the next day, her mother hesitated. "She's all we have left," the mother whispered, frightened. "What if she disappears too?" But the father smiled gently. "She's careful and wise. She will be just fine. This time, I'll scatter peas along the path. They're large and smooth, easy to see, hard to eat." So the youngest daughter set off. But once again, the forest birds had eaten the trail. She stood still, her heart trembling, unsure which way to go. She thought of her father, alone and hungry in the woods, and her mother, waiting and worrying at home. With courage in her heart, she followed her instincts. As twilight fell, she too discovered the little house with the flickering light. She knocked politely, and the old man opened the door. "May I stay here tonight, kind sir?" she asked. The man looked to the 3 animals. The chicken clucked, the rooster gave a cheerful crow, and the cow mooed softly. The old man nodded. "You may stay," he said, "but first, prepare us supper." The girl gladly did so. She not only cooked a warm soup for herself and the old man, but also gave fresh feed to the chicken and rooster, and walked to the barn to bring hay and water for the cow. She brushed their fur, stroked their heads gently, and sang to them in a sweet voice. When everything was done, she asked where she might sleep. "Go upstairs. There are 2 beds," the old man replied. "Make them neat and clean. Cover them with white linens, but do not sleep before I arrive." She obeyed every word, and though she was sleepy, she waited. When the old man arrived, he smiled kindly. "Thank you," he said. "Now you may sleep." The next morning, she awoke to dazzling light. The cottage had vanished. In its place stood a shining castle with tall towers and golden halls. She rubbed her eyes in amazement. Before she could speak, a handsome young prince stepped into the room. "Good morning," he said warmly. "You have broken a terrible spell." He explained that he was the son of a king, once cursed by a wicked sorcerer, to live as an old man in a forgotten forest. His loyal servants had been transformed into animals. The spell could only be lifted by someone with a heart full of love, not only for people, but for animals too, he said. "You were the one. Your kindness set us free." Tears filled the girl's eyes, but they were tears of joy. The prince knelt before her. "Would you do me the honor of becoming my queen?" Blushing, she nodded. A grand wedding was held. The castle was filled with laughter and music. The prince sent for the woodcutter and his wife, who wept with joy to see their daughter again. But the youngest daughter asked gently, "What of my sisters?" "They must first learn compassion," the prince replied. "Until they do, they will work in the coal room below the castle, helping those in need and caring for the animals they once ignored." And so, the girl who showed kindness, not just in words, but in action, became queen. Her heart remained as warm and generous as ever, and the forest around the castle bloomed brighter than ever before. Moral of the story: true kindness is not shown through grand gestures, but in small acts of love. Care for others, even when no one is watching. A heart full of compassion is the most magical gift of all.